Welcome, welcome, welcome. I do apologize because today I am a little under the weather. I don't know. It could be the diabetes, it could be the allergies, it could be stress, it could be so many factors, but I'm trying to figure it out, trying to get myself together, but it's definitely kicking my ass. But today is I'm going to take a little different turn on today's episode because I feel like I spent a lot of time prepping and trying to talk about different topics. I feel like that involves our community, that involves, and when I say black politics, not no hood shit. That ain't black politics for me. What I mean by black top politics are um laws that may impact our community, um different people of power in our community, different influences, just different backgrounds from our community that comes together, and maybe they impact us in a positive or negative way. But I've always wanted in the back of my mind to dedicate a podcast to everything that's positive and black. Um, that I think is not highlighted enough. And again, I always feel like, who the fuck am I? I'm nobody of importance to emphasize, shit that's going on in the world. As you see how I'm living. See, I got the broom in the corner, the shop right bag on the door. I'm not living fancy or special. You know what I mean? I'm not um I'm not gonna pretend I'm somebody of a high influence or power, but I am somebody with education. I am somebody with knowledge. I carry myself in a way um where I'm just me. I don't have to pretend to be more educated than the next man. I don't have to pretend that because I'm knowledgeable about one thing or the other that makes me um you know better than somebody or in a better situation. So I need to talk like this or carry myself like this. If that's not who I am and it doesn't make me happy, I'm not doing it. And that's what kind of hit me about this episode. Because I was beating myself up about the topics. What the fuck am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? What's going on in the world? And trust me, it's a lot of things that's going on in the world. It's a lot of things that could be talked about from episode one. I said I was going to talk about later to episode two. I said I was going to talk about later, but I wasn't motivated because there's a lot going on in my life, and it's a lot of things just going on, conversation pieces that are happening that I don't want to say correlates, but I want to say when you look up and you're looking for influence and you're looking for motivation or you're looking for guidance or you're looking for knowledge and wisdom, or if you're just looking for inspiration, where do you look? Right? I think everybody in the world by now with any form of cognitive thinking has a phone and they have access to social media. If you're one of the rare people who do not look at social media, then you're probably not watching this, right? So this is addressing everybody who watches social media or is on social media. Um, when I wrote this out, I said I want to talk about my opinion, and hopefully this is a way to open up um the door for more conversation and more dialogue about maybe what I'm right about, what I'm wrong about, more so wrong, because that's where I want to start. I want to start with the misconceptions and the perceptions I have about this topic that I'm going to go into, because I just see a lot of things happening in the world where we try to push positivity forward and we try to make it that front runner, but then it's like it could be the machine, it could be a lot of reasons, but negativity always outshines the positive. Yet when you look around, it's all these people screaming God this and Jesus this and Allah this and religious this and family this. Like everybody seems to have the right ideas and live the complete opposite. And when I say live, meaning your tweets don't dictate who you are. That's why I tweet the way I do. I would love for you to believe that the ignorant shit in the way that I talk and the way that I carry myself on Twitter is the way I carry myself in real life. It doesn't bother me if you think that. I don't gain to win and I don't lose anything by the thoughts and opinions of others on Twitter because if we're being honest, if I let's say I worked like I have, this new job at the bank. So, at a different bank than I've been in. But the prior bank that I was at, I see a lot of these guys on Twitter and they're full out giving their opinions on race and everything to no repercussion. So why would I suffer the same thing? You know who I would suffer repercussion from? My people. That's it. Um so that's kind of when I thought I'm gonna dedicate this episode to what I to an opinion that I think is a problem, and it's either a problem within me or it's an actual problem that I guess others may be facing. Um, and I don't see social media as a weapon of mass destruction. Um, so if I use verbiage that may emphasize how social media is so bad, I don't mean it in a way that it's just a total liability. Um, Social media has definitely been our biggest ally as well, outside of just the ability to put our influence out there, right? The ability to have our culture distributed to the world. Since we don't have any, it may seem like we don't have culture because everybody takes it and tries to make it their own, and we'll get into that. Um, but social media is definitely a big problem, and what it does is I think it's taken away a lot of accountability that people should have. Um, I think that it took away the consciousness and the ability to think for yourself or to feel comfortable in having a different opinion because when you think about people who let's say people who are who have stage fright or they're afraid to do public speaking, right? They say that, and this is a therapist study, that people who are afraid to speak in public spaces usually a high percentage, and if not all, are afraid of what the crowd may think, right? What people may think. They are afraid of having a different opinion that may have them ridiculed. They are afraid of standing out from people. They are afraid of backlash. And again, we're always afraid of negativity until we're not the ones in the negative. So I feel like social media has created this idea that as long as I'm on the other side of the gun and not in front of it, that I could shoot at whoever. And it takes away the true feelings of the person who are sending those shots. Excuse me for moving the computer, but it takes away from the people who are credible and the stuff that they say because now you're conforming to what you want people to hear, or excuse me, what you think people want to hear, and not how you really feel. Don't know if that's an ally, but I would say it's a liability, but I could be wrong. Again, some people have gained so much from revamping their ideas to what a large population of people think, and it has worked for them. And you can't lie and argue the facts because the facts are there. You look at these streamers today, you look at a lot of these content creators, you see what's happening, right? You see how fast they'll say one thing before they're famous and then they get famous, and then this whole idea of who they are has changed. And that's kind of why I'm afraid to do this, because I don't believe I will get famous because I don't want to be famous. I don't even think I have the image. I don't think I have the conscience, and I definitely don't have the personality where I can be famous. I will be canceled too fast, or I'm going to make a lot of enemies and end up having to kill somebody because they're not going to kill me. So I'm looking at it from that end. I'm looking at it from somebody who may never have the opportunity to be at the stature of some of these people, right? So now you do have to think, to what extent does that breed jealousy, hate, or envy towards those people, right? And then when you think about it from that aspect, well, now we need to dissect, excuse me, the images that are being portrayed by these people of this stature. We have to look at the message that are being presented. We have to look at the the movement that they are creating. Because see, the thing is, if you put yourself in a position, right, when you're having certain opinions about a culture, or you're having certain opinions about a population, and you're of said population, then you have to look at yourself in the mirror about what are you doing to enhance anybody in your vicinity. See, I've always been a firm believer of I'm not in control of nobody else's life but my own. But if I'm in a position of power and I can say I got 10 friends who I know that they have fucked up families, they have fucked up household structures, they have no money, they have no way of providing for themselves, they have a high chance of being homeless, they have a high chance of committing a crime. Guess what? When I got my job, the first thing I did was I worked my ass off to be a manager so I can bring them on. I just consciously think about what am I doing to further enhance the lifestyle that I think we all should have, while understanding that we play a part in that community. Because I grew up on the quote, it takes a village to raise a child. And now you look up and it's every man for himself, grown, children, anything. Um, and again, you have to ask yourself, how much of an impact is social media playing that, right? How much of the things we see today altered the foundations we grew up on, and is was it for the better? I don't know how to answer that, and I don't know how to answer that because there are people who has had their life changed for the better. I haven't, so I can't speak to that. I can speak as a witness of those who have. I can speak on somebody who does not reap the benefits of social media, but I can also speak on somebody who is trying to, or in a better way to say that, I am somebody who is trying to really stand firm on the message that I really just want to be positive, uplift, and talk about good things. And even when it comes to sports, I don't want to diminish. Who the fuck am I? How can I diminish somebody else's character or who they are as a player? They made it somewhere that I never could. And just because you become a successful analyst for ESPN or Undisputed or whatever the case is, that doesn't make you qualified to judge people. You're just qualified to talk. But when you talk, what are you talking about? When did it become okay to disengage and to tear down people when you literally could create a message of positivity and morale building and motivate people? You don't think when you're playing something in front of a group of tens and thousands and millions are watching, you don't think somebody would perform better if they heard some positivity about their play, or highlights about the good they're doing? You think negativity is going to always fuel somebody to do better? After a while, it's going to tear up their mental. Then they're going to have nothing left. I don't know what social media has done for us in terms of pushing us into that path of getting back to that village, right? And I think personally, social media has segregated us in such a way that I think it's even done it worse to the minority population. And I don't even like calling us a minority population, because if everybody is considered a minority and whites are whites, then wouldn't that make them the minority and the minority is the majority? It is what it is. Like I said, I don't I don't want to use that word minority. Fuck that. To the non-whites, and I used whites broadly, African descent, Caribbean descent, Black American descent. We're not reading enough. We're not reading enough books. We're not reading enough books. We're not going back and really doing our due diligence on our history. We're not going back and really trying to understand everything that our past generation went through and what they overcame. because we allow narratives to be set online and we fight hard against them, but not understanding that we're being baited into doing the opposite of what they did. And I really feel like we have allowed a narrative to be put on all of us that you give it 25 years or more and we'll have a full out civil war. They even made a movie about it. A24 Studios made a movie about it. And you can look at the trailer and understand the concept of what they think is going to be like. You ain't see many black faces in that trailer except the one woman telling them to fire on the motherfucking whatever the fucking the building, whatever that fucking building is. I could care less about anything in Washington, but it's tiring, it's frustrating, it's annoying. It makes you lose hope because there was a tipping point in time where you could look on social media and let's say you started a business. Now, again, all of these topics have subcategories because not everything is going to be right. Like, for example, you could start a business and be a shit poor business owner. That doesn't mean that people should support you. I think the problem we have is social media doesn't allow people to think for themselves. So it takes only one to fuck up an infrastructure. And nobody's doing the research or the further investigations to understand why things are the way that they are, right? They're going based off of what somebody else said, how many retweets and quotes they have, how many likes they have, and they run with it. You all of us can say that we've been on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook and we've seen one person tweet an opinion and then a bunch of people jump on that opinion, but never knew why they had the opinion until somebody else had it. Listen, what I want to do in this world is I'm watching how we all and I participate in it just as much as the next person. So I'm very hypocritical. I'm very ignorant to a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be. But I want to try to be different. I understand what it's like to come home, to a fucked up foundation. I know what it's like to come home to abusive parents. I know what it's like to come home to being around family members who like to touch on you. If we're gonna have that conversation, we can have it. I have no problem with that. But if we're gonna tell the truth, we're gonna tell it all. Where do you turn to anymore? Who do you turn to anymore? Because you're gonna wake up one day, your face is gonna look like this, right? Your vision's gonna be bad, and it's nobody you could blame but yourself. I should have took care of me, and I didn't. I didn't. I allowed a lot of things that I grew up around. I allowed a lot of people I was around to dictate how I perceived life and how I should live. Knowing it was wrong, but was too lazy, and that's the truth. I was too lazy to look up and say, I need to do the research on how to escape this life. Because at first it was exciting. Because when you look up and you see everybody glorify the gang life and the street life and the hood, and everybody want to be, everybody want to have a struggle story, but don't nobody want to struggle. Say it again, and I'm not going to drink no water today. Everybody wants to have a struggle story, but don't want to go through the struggle. And it don't work like that. You have to pick and choose your battle. If you want to struggle, you better ask yourself, is it worth the struggle? Everybody can go through a struggle. A job is stressing you out to the point where you feel like you're about to die. You get very sick. They don't give a fuck. Calling you on the phone, hey, you were in the middle of doing a job. I know you just came from the hospital, but can you turn this in? No. Well, well, we can't move forward if you don't finish this job. Bitch, I just left the hospital. That was PNC Bank that did that to me. So you know what I do? I'm out. Because you'll grow up through life hearing that, oh, you just a number and they'll replace you at the drop of a dime. But they mean that shit. Some talk ain't just talk. But if we don't do our research or put ourselves around people who are, and I'm going to just say this for the lack of better term, we don't put ourselves around winners, then all we're going to know is how to fucking lose. We don't know nothing else because we're not doing our part to succeed. There's a book I've been reading. Simplest book. I know everybody's heard of it. This book right here. Okay. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. I hope I pronounce his last name right. Amazing read. Amazing read. And again, that's another one of the things I'm gonna say. We'll talk about that down the road. But it's just simple readers. It don't have to be this book. As you seeing that in the little bookshelf by my door. It's not full of books, but there's books there. I have more books scattered around, but there's still books there because I'm trying to learn something. If you see that first book, it looks like that's the Malcolm X book. I have poor eyesight, but if I look back, yes, it is. Up by Alex Haley. I'm just trying to understand our history. I'm trying to understand the problems that we faced. I'm trying to understand how they overcame it. I'm trying to understand how to adapt to the times. I'm trying to understand how to work on credit because here's the thing. A lot of people are whatever situation you're born in, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a race thing, right? I think it just boils down to circumstances and obviously um more now than back then. I think it was more so race definitely puts you in a lot of fucked up situations back then. Now everything is like every infrastructure is so fucked up. So race plus whatever the dynamic is that you were born into, especially now, it's not going to be good. It's not going. You can't live this life without doing research. They're stripping us of things that are important to our growth as a society, as a growth as a people. Then you wonder why there's people who are literally building their names up and their platform and their credibility up off of a culture that they claim doesn't exist. Millions of followers and still have followers ain't gonna go nowhere. The views not gonna go nowhere because you are allowed to say things and mean what you say and say what you mean, but an apology will fix all of that. It's just like going to kill somebody and then somebody telling you, oh, all you got to do is go to church and repent. Your sin is washed away as long as you don't get arrested. I don't understand anything anymore. I don't really see the purpose of putting yourself in a situation where you're trying to bring people up with you because everybody want to tear you down. I got friends I asked to do this podcast with. I ain't even friends with them no more. I got friends and family I done asked to watch the podcast. I guess they don't know that YouTube provides statistics. They ain't watching. They ain't liking or commenting. They ain't sharing it. They ain't retweeting it. They ain't quoting it. They don't even like the tweets. They don't even go on my TikTok. But let Drake diss Kendrick or Kendrick diss Drake or some shit happen with Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Everybody know what's going on with that. They're gonna retweet, share that, post that 100 times. We have false expectations of people. I do. Let me not say we. I do. I didn't even put my banner up. Let me do this. Because we can get straight into it. We get straight into it because I don't want to expound much on that. But y'all know what's going on. Y'all know what's going on. And I feel like a lot of times we allow a lot of shit to happen. We allow a lot of shit to happen out of the goodness of our hearts, the strength of just trying to be good people, the strength of love. And sometimes we get overshadowed, overlooked, and overcompassed by the plethora of people who are willing to support all the ass shaking, fighting, negativity, killings, and shit like that, but to get up there and cry that they're being mistreated by one fucking white man. Y'all ain't gonna stand up and fight this nigga. You gonna get mad though if he call you a nigga, and when he kill one of you, it's an uprising, it's an uproar, racism at an all-time high. My man's just got killed 2 weeks ago. I don't even need to talk about it because the fuck is talking about it gonna do? You think if I started a petition, hey, my friend just died by the hands of a gang member, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna look my ass up. Oh, he's a glorified gang violence plenty of times. He done glorified being in the gang. So, who the fuck is he? They tear that shit down quick because it's not a part of nobody's agenda. There's nobody to substantiate or stand behind me with these issues. And nobody wants to do it alone. Nobody has done it alone, and nobody will do it alone. And that's the difference between then and now as well, is you ain't getting that same support now that they got then. Fuck no. Way more bitch made people. Way more soft ass niggas. Way more mentally ignorant people in the world. A lot more. Because what happens is it's a tree. It's a family tree. You could have had that one. Everybody got a family member who just ghetto, will never break that generational curse. And then you got family members like myself and a few others that do try, right? Like I can name my cousins who actually found a way, even though they handsy, but they found a way to break it. And then you have the ones that can never leave. They're gonna always be stuck in that cycle. And every time you interact with them, they trying to bring you down. So what do when you get away from them? They procreate with the same person. They find somebody who got the same traumas, the same issues, the same fucking problems in life that they have, and they procreate life. And instead of fixing or getting away from those problems, they stay around them. So now it's 3 people instead of 2. Look how fast it went from 0 to 1 to 3. The Lord knows, don't let them have 2 or more. Now that's 4. And as time go by, they're still introducing different people of the same traumas. So instead of pulling each other out of the traumas, they're procreating in the problem. And then they're pushing those problems down to their children. And instead of saying, hey, this is what we've been through, so I'm going to pour my whole life into making sure you never have to ever experience this. Oh no, they just make you hate everybody that they blame for their problems. That was my mother. My mother was an alcoholic and a druggie, and this woman almost killed me. This woman has tried to kill me on multiple occasions, not almost. I mean, I'm not even gonna get into it. Is there plenty of times I've been neglected? I've been left with people who were on drugs. I done been touched. I done spoke up when I used to fight. And I mean, I used to get busy. Anybody who know could tell you, I ain't saying I could beat everybody in the world, but when it came to certain things happening to me, I used to be a fucking problem. My family used to hate me. And then they used to call me a problem because I used to get very violent as a response, because that's how my mother was, right? And I'm not going to blame her, but prior to being able to understand those issues, I was succumbed by that shit. Like that was all I knew. And you start translating it to when you meet people. So now I got 2 baby mothers, not saying they're bad people, but I do honestly believe with a different structure, a different foundation, a different group of people in my life, a different influence, just a different mindset that I really should have had, I would never be with them. Never. I call this mark on my face, I call this my curse mark. I never had it before. I'm not even gonna call this black politics. This is how I feel. I don't know what I did in life that could warrant me ever expecting all this positivity and graciousness and good things to happen. I don't think I've done a quarter of the things I was supposed to do. And I acknowledge that, and I'm very fully accountable of those things now. But I've been fighting to overcome a dynamic that I feel was passed down to me from both sides, and it is a tough battle because not only do you see it, but now I got sisters from different areas, right? I got family members from different areas who are all going through the same shit. So every escape you have is in the same scenario you're running from. I created the Black Politics show to separate myself, to isolate myself from that. If you want to contact me, you want to know how I'm doing, this is how you would do it. And I know you won't do it because I see the stats. I put it out there multiple times for people to see it, for people to know what's going on in my life. Constantly. I'm constantly putting myself in a position to hope that I'm constantly telling everybody I need help. I need help. I need mental. I just need guidance, maybe just some wisdom, not to say anybody's accountable for my development because only I can be accountable for it. But I am saying I need help as a man, as a human, because there's things that you just never, not gonna say you just don't learn on your own, but you need others to learn it. I'm at that pinnacle in my life. There's so many things I wanted to talk about. I saw the things that the Haitian streamer kid said about, you're just Black Americans, so you don't have a culture. You're not Jamaican, you're not African, you're not Haitian, you're not Dominican, you're not all of these things. And maybe I could be wrong, but or maybe you just don't know what a culture is. Anybody can create a culture. A culture is just a mannerism of behavior, things that we do, a structure that we create, right? Like you say a team has a winning culture because this is what they do, this is the results they get, and this is what they believe will work. And as long as it works, that's the culture. The culture is winning, and we're going to do whatever it takes to win. Laying down and dying or losing every game is a losing culture because you're allowing yourself to not work hard. You don't give a fuck. That's your culture. What do you think the Black culture would be? Way more good than bad. I tell you that much. But we have cultures. We have multiple. Music is us. There's no African shit. Ain't no Jamaican shit. Ain't no Caribbean shit. That's us. We could share sports, but sports is a culture, right? Because you can create a culture of how you watch sports, how you attend those things, how you perform. I mean, again, when you talk about culture, what are we talking about? Because we don't dress up in a bunch of colorful ass leaves and shake our ass at a festival, that means we don't have culture. Because we're not killing each other because our government is so corrupt, that's not having culture. Because we don't cook our foods outside with our bare hands, that's not culture. Because we like to wear Nikes instead of having our feet out, that's not culture. I don't want to expound on that. I'm 33 minutes in. I don't even want this to be longer than an hour. I want to say this. Black people have a unique culture. If we didn't have one, everybody wouldn't try to replicate it. The problem we have is we allow so many people into our culture. And I'm going to say it one more time. The problem Black people have is we allow everybody who we like into our culture when they don't belong in it. If you're going to build yourself up on something, since you believe we don't have a culture, then stand on your Haitian heritage. Don't do streams with Black artists, excuse me. Don't do streams about rap music. Do streams about soca, whatever that shit is. Do streams about what's going on in Haiti. Do a stream. Don't go to Africa, visit their people. Don't go different places visiting people. Go to Haiti. Go Haiti. The Haitian airport, I believe, opens up at the end of this month. First thing you should do, go to Haiti and do the shit Mr. Beast did in Africa. Because they need you more than ever. Are you able to do that though? Can you stand on that? What is your culture? Dancing goofy as hell on a stream for millions of kids to see, and then what? My podcast ain't gonna never have more than 100 views. I could tell you that shit now. This show probably, and I hate to say this because it only sounds like I'm selling myself short. It only sounds like I don't believe in myself. Trust me, I believe in me way more now than I've ever done, and I definitely believe in this. But I also know what I'm saying and what I talk about and how I want this show to go. It's not gonna be for nobody eyes because I'm not gonna do the most. Mm-mm. This is only one thing I want to do in the multiple things of changing not just my life but everybody's. So I'm not going to do the most on here. I'm not going to do the gritty. I'm not going to do the feet work. I'm not going to get multiple famous people. I can't. I can't. I don't have that. I don't. I My success didn't just show up. There ain't gonna be nobody that's handing shit out to me for me to just pop up famous and then boom, all of this is handed to me. No, I don't think so. And maybe that's not how everybody else see it, but they know who to pick. Trust me, they know who to pick. I know because I have them as clients. I've been in circles. The bank has put me in situations where I seen all I needed to see to be confident in a lot of decisions that I'm about to make. So because of that, I formulated these opinions because I realized that a lot of times we get complacent with people who look cool to us. You know, they're relatable in a sense of, you know, they like our music, they like the same things we like, they do the shit that we like. You know, we find them cool, we find them to be one of us. See, that's our culture. Whether niggas want to admit it or not, that's us. Black people really be the most loving people in the world. There's killers who are lovers. That's what it is. We're the most loving people in the world. Black people love everybody. Even even as far as to honestly say we love others more than we love ourselves. And I mean ourselves not as you personally, but as other black people. We could see one person who's black doing something that we like and be like, oh, everybody do that shit. But let Jimmy Bob, who ain't never do the Cupid shuffle in his life, let him go viral because he did the cha-cha slide one time. Now he invited to the cookout. Now he welcome to the party. Now he a part of the culture. He'll be the same nigga that'll get famous off of us. And then, of course, what happens is because he's famous because of us, then his people start following him and then giving him that power. Then he turned right on us like they all do. Will it ever stop? I don't have that answer yet. But that's an answer I promise you. Before I ever end this show in totality, it'll be an episode 140. I'm gonna try to find that motherfucking answer. Will we ever figure out why we allow outsiders to be a part of our culture before we ever big up the people we already have? Don't know the answer to that. But I'm complacent and understanding that I won't be one of them. I'm very understanding that, you know, I see it from my friends. I see it from the people that are in my immediate circle. If they don't big you up, I don't know how you can expect outsiders to do it. But I mean that's a part of the hate and the shit that we're used to as black people. And a lot of people tell you that the first people that hate you be the ones closest to you. That's not how it's supposed to be. Why is that normalized? Why is that okay? You know why? It's not that we want to normalize it. We can't fucking change it right now. I'm sure everybody want to get away from everybody, but you got so much love in your heart, you trying to get away from them very people that hate you, you'll realize that you'll have to get away from fucking everybody. And that's not who we are. I pray on the day that we figure it out as a group. I really do. I really do. I figure like, you know, we got the banks that merged a couple weeks ago, like their merger officially went through. I just hope that those are benchmarks and plateaus that we can be proud of, to stand on, to support, and to do our best to not only be a part of that success, but to implicate it and to replicate it. If we can create our own successes in the world, it'll do everybody good. It won't just do society or America's economics good. It would do all of us good mentally, physically. I think everybody would be more motivated. But we're too busy tearing each other down. So I take this to say, I pray to God that if you have a calling and you feel like this is something that you're into, whatever it is you're doing, stick with it. But make sure that the why is the right purpose, and make sure that your purpose is the best purpose for what you intend your life to be. Because at some point, any day could be your last day. And if you haven't fulfilled what you feel is your mission or your calling, or if you felt like, okay, if today was the last day, how would you feel? If that answer isn't, I'm grateful, or I'm happy, then we still got work to do. And that's just what it is. It's okay to admit that. Then a lot of times we don't want to, because we're afraid that if we say what it is we want to do, motherfuckers is going to tear you down. Trust me, I know. I've been there. This is maybe my fourth or fifth show idea. Sometimes you just got to wake up and say, fuck them. They ain't your real friends anyway, so why you give a fuck? And move on about your life. So I wanted to, I was supposed to dedicate this show to that. I'm already at the 41-minute mark, and I'm like, I wanted to keep it under an hour. Clearly, I'm not going to be able to do that because I definitely freestyled a lot. I wrote down so much shit, and it literally is, I probably strayed away, but I stayed kind of on target to what I wanted to talk about. Excuse me, but I didn't speak to exactly what I wrote, but it's fine. I didn't miss anything. I addressed, I think, everything I wanted to address. With that being said, let me give you guys a reintroduction, because who am I to just go into this episode in full on rant mode? So let's start over. Welcome everybody. I want to say happy. What the hell is today? Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, my people. It's the People's Anchor Wade Williams, and it's good to see you. I'm not going to act like this is the first topic. We talked about a lot for the first 40 minutes. I wanted to do a reintroduction because let's change our mindset out of the negativity. But I do want to address one thing before we go into second take, and that is DC Young Fly got booed in Atlantic City during one of the tour stops with Mike Epps and company. Now, the video was uploaded by many who went to see the performance live. But as you watch the video, do you feel the booze was warranted? Now, granted, we didn't hear the whole set. We didn't hear the setup. We didn't hear, I guess we didn't hear maybe the whole joke. But many commentary in most of those videos did not seem to understand why DC Young Fly was getting booed. Even as one lady stated in the video, oh my God, they really booing him. And what shocked me the most, it proceeded by DC getting a loud ovation when he finished, when he pushed through the boos. And it didn't take much longer for him to get that ovation. It actually felt as if the standing ovation kind of it drowned out the boos. Like it felt like it, a few people was booing just to be funny, and then once the ovation came, it just drowned out the boos. You didn't hear it, so it made me to thinking, well, damn, if it was that simple to just give him an ovation, were the boos ever warranted? Was there something else at work? DC leans on God a lot, and I love that because you can see how much it gets him through a lot of the shit he goes through. Twitter, of course, another place where I just like going to see how we respond to things, and no shock. I mean, if there was 100 tweets, maybe 95 of them were full negative, with many of them saying that he deserves it. Him, Desi, Jess Hilarious, and B Simone are not funny. 85 South was never funny. All of these people say these things, right? And it's just like you're more than welcome to have an opinion, but to laugh at somebody doing something for themselves at a time like this is exactly what I mean. And again, everybody's entitled to an opinion. You might not like this shit, and guess what, bitch? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck how you feel. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Bitch, I don't give a fuck how you feel. Fuck you, fuck your opinions, and fuck your feelings. If you was to say, damn, I ain't gonna lie, DC, that joke you told, that shit that shit was weak. You know, you gotta come stronger next time. Anybody hear anything wrong with that? Tell me. Hey, DC, I ain't gonna lie, bro. You was killing it, but that last joke with the crackhead shit, man, we tired of hearing it. Anybody hear anything wrong with that? But no, he deserves it. He ain't never been funny. He ain't been funny since Vaughn. I don't know why anybody going to see him anyway. I'm done talking about it. That's not black politics, honestly. That's ignorant shit. That ain't black politics. That's ignorant shit. That's what people do. I don't even know what to say. This episode is so motherfucking chaotic in my brain for me because I I knew I felt some type of way even when I couldn't even write any topics. And it was so much I could have talked about, but I was so disrupted. I'm looking at shit, and I could be honest with you guys. We're family. We're 3 episodes in now. This is progress for me. What was most disheartening was, and I'm choosing to speak on it at the 47.5 minute mark, and I'll tell you why, because I know none of my friends will get to this point in the video. You don't know how many people, and I can name at least, let's say 5. Let's just say 5. I don't have that many friends anyway. So let's say 5, but it definitely was more than 5. But out of 5 people, only 1 person watched the whole video. You know how I know that? Because she sat on the phone with me and watched it. I chose to turn the camera on even though I didn't feel motivated to do this. I didn't feel inspired. I really didn't even want to do. I can honestly, I'll be honest with you guys. I wanted to quit because I felt like I came to a realization that this is never going to blossom the way that I wanted to. I don't give a fuck. Like the chills I get when I think like that, and then my brain goes, fuck them niggas. I'm here for it. This video may only get 10 views in total. Guess what? That's 5 more than I expected. And that's 10 more than the ones I told to watch it. That is 10 more than the people that told me they watched it, for sure. And they know they didn't. I do apologize for the mental break I just had, because I really want this podcast to be nothing but positive energy, positive outlights, positive just emphasis on everything good in the world, because I think we got enough negativity. We don't need to pretend that we need more. I remember one time I was being just super positive on one of my conference calls, and somebody at the end of the conference call said, you know, too much positivity is not a good thing because it breeds complacency and an unrealistic culture. And I said, what? I said, it's only unrealistic because you guys won't support it being nothing but positivity. I got a big fucking forehead. My forehead big as hell. God dang. Yo, listen, I'm only 29. I'm telling you now, all this shit coming off when I'm 30 and mine as well. I don't know where the fuck is my headline. I decide I want to do a motherfucking show, and now my headline goes full Stephen A. Smith. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my Lord. I'm getting old. back to the topic. Positivity can't breed full complacency in unrealistic cultures unless you don't want it to. And what that means is if you're somebody who feels like positivity, too much positivity is a problem, it's because you don't get enough of it. Because who the fuck don't want to be around positive energy? This shit is mind blowing what's going on. So this podcast is my journal. It's my escape from unrealistic expectations. It is my output for the things that I think I hold on to and don't know how to share with anybody. And I feel like, I hope whoever sees this, if you make it this far, leave a comment, talk to me. If you need somebody to talk to, as you can see, I love talking. But anything I can do to uplift and empower people like myself or anybody, don't got a shit to do with just color. You know what I mean? It just don't. Everybody go through some fucked up stuff, man. I'm telling you, I got some great white friends that has some terrible parents. That's just what it is. Spanish friends, homeless, and they figured it out. Some people figured out, some don't. But the conversations we had in the process is what told me I'm not doing enough in my own life. So you can learn something from anybody. It's just if you just got to be willing to. So with that being said, we are now getting into second take. Take. Da-na-na, da-na-na. Okay, that definitely was not the one I wanted. It was not the one I wanted to use.
Take over. The break's over, nigga. Take over. The break's over, nigga.
Yeah, this going out for ESPN. The takeover. Break's over, nigga. The NBA playoffs, man, it's rolling. But I have to say, it's going to be a lot of disappointed people at the end of this. And before I talk about the obvious, let me just say something real quick on a note that I have about the NBA playoffs. The fucking betting shit, we need control and regulations better than what we have now. It is obvious. You have to listen. It is so fucking obvious that it's impacting the game and the flow of it. You could tell when certain things are happening to prevent certain certain legs to win, or just certain forget the parlay shit that they call it when you just do like, this person may have 30 points and all that. Like you can see the impact it's having on the game. They did well to hide Michael Jordan's betting addiction until way later in his years, but now they want to take a stand and implement it into the game and ban every nigga that bets. It's fucking crazy. So that's my problem with it. And whether people want to feel like that's a negative, so fucking be it. It's clearly a problem. And I'm not the only one that feels like it, even as far as people who are former players. So that's why I felt like, I can add my input, because I realized at first I thought I was the only nigga that seen it. That is starting to pick up traction, especially with these playoffs. Now, with that being said, my predictions, I'm cooking. And if you watch the first 2 episodes, you know I'm cooking. Celtics are up 1-0 against the Jimmy Butler-less Heat. I won't expound too much on this series because I'm going to be honest with you. I do not believe anyone believed the Heat had a chance, even with Jimmy Butler. I mean, we know what Jimmy Butler is capable of, but, that shit stops. That shit stops with the Celtics. This is going to be one of those series that I believe the Celtics will either win 4-0 or 4-1. The 4-1 would be that one game Jimmy comes back that they didn't prepare for, and that's even if he makes it back. Game 2 is going to be in Boston on Wednesday at 7 p.m., and it's going to be on TNT. Again, they will be without Jimmy Butler, so you can practically. I'm gonna be honest. I just don't see the Celtics losing to anybody in the East, and we'll get to that. We'll get to the Knicks, who are up 2-0 against the 76ers. And I'm gonna be honest, this has been a great series. 2 games in, the first game, Joel Embiid, he got hurt. He continued to play, but whatever they gave him to push through that knee injury, you can tell is fucking up his nervous system. The man, wide eye, something is wrong. And if you're willing to do that just for game 1 of the first round, you're not going to make it. So I'm going to be honest. I don't think the Knicks sweep the 76ers, but I absolutely do not think the 76ers win this series. They're on borrowed time with Joel Embiid, especially with his knee and his meniscus injuries. Like he is just too much. And the further damage that they're willing to do to this man just to try to get a championship that they're not going to get at all, is going to impact Joel Embiid more than the 76ers. And that's just being honest. Joel Embiid has a higher ceiling than the organization the 76ers has. Meaning, I believe Joel Embiid goes to a team and can become a champion. I don't think the 76ers with Joel Embiid can be a champion. That's just the truth. We're going to Philly for the next 2 games, and I think we can all agree that Philly cannot afford to lose a game in their house, but the officiating in these last 2 games in the Garden has been piss poor. I don't believe Philly is going to allow New York to come in there and disrupt the house, because we know how Philly get down. So if you're looking forward to that series as much as I am, Game 3 is Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. Do not miss it. Milwaukee is 1-0 against the Pacers, and in the usual Dame Dollar fashion, he completely took over the game by himself. With no Giannis, I mean, he made it look easy against the Pacers. He gave us that classic Dame time. This is what I'm here for. This is what y'all brought me here for. Fuck are you talking about? I'm here for this. Dame was on one, boy. I love that shit. I'm not gonna lie. I love the Pacers though, because I'm a big Tyrese Halliburton guy. I think we look alike. I'm just the fat version. But I would love to see him fight back. I would love to see. I mean, again, it's only 1-0. You know, we're back in Milwaukee for Game 2, but I do believe this series is going to take a little swing. It could go 6 games. I don't know about 7. Too young. I just don't know. And I mean, it depends if they get Giannis back and other pieces start working itself into the rotation. Then we'll see. But I don't see it going 7. But I definitely could see the Pacers pushing for 6. Into another Eastern Conference game that I have to be honest, I'm not too indulged in, is the Cavs against the Magic. And the Cavs are currently up 2-0 against the Magic in back-to-back home games where they won by at least 10 plus points. I have to say, you know, I love Paolo Banchero, and I believe he's capable of having that Dwight Howard effect for the Magic. I just don't know with the amount of talent in the league, will it be enough to get too far? Now, again, the Cavs are up 2-0. Can the tide turn in Orlando for Game 3? That has to be seen. They're playing Thursday at 7 p.m. and it's on NBA TV. Now, I was doing some research, and I could be wrong, so please tell me if I'm wrong. You notice all the other games I said are on TNT, but this one. This is the only one being shown on NBA TV. You know, this is one of those series that you don't care who comes out, but you're not going to be mad at who comes out. But if I had to choose a team, I want the Magic to win. I feel like the Magic has come far. They've always had a prominent big man to substantiate their wins, to get them to the promised land in a sense of winning playoff series. Because I think that's the big thing. They just haven't had it yet, and now Paolo's there, and I think he can do it. But this is now a league where support matters. Big men aren't going to be able to dominate unless you're like generational, like Joker. And even then, you can say Joker still has Jamal Murray. You know, you got little pieces. Jamal Murray's not a little piece. Jamal Murray's a great piece, but you get what I mean as far as having those pieces. Um, I want to get to, let me see, because I think that was the last game of the Eastern Conference. Now we get to the West. We get to the West. The West is already showing favorites. The number one seed beat the Pelicans in game one, what was only a 2-point game. Now, does the AFC Pelicans have a chance to beat OKC in their home? Not a goddamn chance. Game two is Wednesday at 9:30 on TNT again, and I believe that this is a game that OKC may win in dominant fashion. The Clippers won game one against the Mavs by 12 points, but the game was much closer than paper shows. That second half was being dominated by the Mavs, but it still wasn't enough. Now the Clippers are without Kawhi Leonard, but do you think the Mavs figured out a game plan to beating the Clippers without Kawhi? Because I think they had the plan with Kawhi, and they had to make a game time adjustments. And for the most part, they did good in the second half. They just couldn't overcome the deficit, which is okay. I mean, it's only game one. When the second half shows you that, it kind of showed me that the Mavs are capable, and I believe they are more than capable. So that's just something we're gonna have to see. I'm gonna be honest. This is one of my favorite series, even without Kawhi. I would love to see Kawhi come back, because this is going to be full Mavs versus full Clippers. And I think we all know the history of the Clips and the Mavs. That's starting to develop into its own rivalry. So I think that'd be great. I would love to see what the Mavs figured out for tonight's game plan. I don't want to give you guys any bad journalism. I'm not sure if Kawhi will be playing tonight, but what I will say is that game will be played at 10 p.m. on TNT again. And this time, I think I'm going to go and say the Mavs are my favorite for this game. Just because, like I said, you talking about Kawhi and Luka, and whether people want to give Kyrie his flowers, Kyrie is going to forever at least be a top 10 player in the league, skill wise. Luka is hands down 2 or 3. Some days it feel like one. So I can't keep going against the I just can't. I can't go against the Mavs forever. I think, wait a minute. I wanted to save this game for last because it consists of my favorite player of all time and now my new favorite. So let's skip that game. I want to please pardon my eyes because I wrote it in order of how I wanted to talk about it. And now I'm reading it out of order. The reigning, how Paul Heyman says, the reigning, undisputed NBA champions of the world, the Denver Nuggets, are up 2-0 against the damn Los Angeles Lakers. Will this be another sweep of the Lakers, or can the Lakers win at least one game in their home trip? I'm going to be honest. Many analysts and experts believe the Nuggets will get the sweep after last night's game of 101-99 that went in favor of the Nuggets. But many believe that was the best chance the Lakers had of showing that they can win a game against the Nuggets. Excuse me. I believe that to be the same thing. The reason I believe that is because AD still gave us an 80 performance. LeBron gave us the LeBron of his age performance, right? I don't think we need to let it go. This man has been in the league as long as some of y'all kids been alive and before. Some of y'all were kids when he got into the league. This man ain't going to be able to give y'all the old LeBron every goddamn series and damn sure not every game. D'Lo had a face, got hit in the face and wasn't called. So the fuck what? It's playoff basketball. Some of this stuff we have to really, again, hold ourselves accountable. Are you playing the right defense? Again, AD feels like he's the best defensive player and he's often overlooked and underrated. But when it comes to Joker, man, you can't do shit with Joker. You guys haven't beaten them since 2022. You are now 0-10 against the fucking Nuggets. That's all I got to say about that. I don't even think I need to talk more about that. I'm going to spend time talking about my favorite series. But before I do that, let me just say, I don't know what happens with LeBron after this series, but a change needs to happen. If he's going to stay with the Lakers, AD is going to stay with the Lakers. If they don't get better role players or get Darwin Ham the fuck, Darvin, whatever his name, get him the fuck out of here. That guy's a weirdo. And just because you played basketball don't mean you could be a coach. Being a coach means I'm a leader. On top of being a leader, I have the skill sets to lead. If your resume don't speak to that, how are you getting these jobs? And again, those go to the behind the scenes politics that has nothing to do with me, so I don't care to speak on it. I want to talk about a game that is obviously going to be career defining and one of those pinnacle moments for my guy Anthony Edwards, and that is the Timberwolves kicked the dog shit out of the Suns, but not without a 31-point performance from my man Kevin Durant. Now, that's my favorite player of all time. You know, I'm going to be biased towards KD. I don't care what you guys say or how y'all feel about some of the decisions he has made. So the fuck what? That is a grown man. He is allowed to do what he want to do. What I will say is this: your boy Ant-Man Anthony Edwards put up 33 points yesterday against the Suns. And I mean, it was a work of art, man. I mean, he was trying to show KD, you my favorite player, and all that shit you do, I've been working on not could do. Gave him 33 points and a W in a convincing fashion too. Of I believe it was 120 to 96. Now what I will say is this: I don't know what happened to Devin Booker, but I think game 2 and most of the games after that will be different. I'm never going to sleep on Kevin Durant, and I'm not going to sleep on Devin Booker. But I love Anthony Edwards, and I love to see that team and the way that they play around him, for him, and for each other. Man, I this is probably the only series outside of the Clippers and Mavs that I can honestly say I don't care who wins, but I'll be extremely happy with whoever comes out of that series. So that's going to be one of those series that I think we need to watch intensively. Game 2 is tonight at 7:30 p.m. on our favorite TNT. I don't know how you guys feel about the playoffs, but I gotta say it has not been as it's been in the past, but it has been exciting in terms of some of the storylines. I mean, again, Suns and Timberwolves is a great storyline. Clippers and Mavs, great storyline. Obviously, we got the Lakers and the fucking and the Denver Nuggets, who has actually a real storyline of WWE fashion where there's beef, there's tension among coaches and players and all that shit. So you know, when it comes to the West, I have to be honest. I don't think there's a game that they have on the West that I can say is not exciting. Maybe OKC and the Pelicans. I think that's probably that. If you was to compare it to a game on the East, that's the Cavs and the Magic. That's the same way I feel about OKC and the Pelicans. On the Eastern side, though, I mean, obviously, you know, we got Celtics and Heat, but not exciting because the Heat are not the Heat that we know them to be right now, especially with Jimmy Butler being out. It doesn't make it an excuse, but you know, I think that would have been a better game if it wasn't in the first round. 76ers and Knicks, I think, is the best series so far out of the East. You do have the Pacers and the Bucks, but I don't think that's exciting. You know, so when you're looking at all of these games and you're really comparing it to, you know, what we're seeing, in the West, I mean, obviously it's much more storyline. So now it's going to come out to who's the more dominant team. Whereas in the East, it's going to come down to who is the. If it's not the Celtics, it'll be because somebody just. I don't want to say they got lucky. I'm just going to say that's sports. You know, in the West, you could look at it and a motherfucker that come out the West, you're going to say, hey, look, that was skill. Them niggas, they had the ball. In the East, it just feel like, of course, it's going to be skill. Let me not even ever diminish anybody's work. I just feel like the East is up for grabs, but the West, you kind of know who you need to knock out. You know, it starts with the Mav. I mean, it starts with the Nuggets, right? Then you have to look at, okay, so now the Nuggets are technically the real number one team. OKC got the record, but we know in terms of team-wise who to beat, they're the champions. And they're dominating in their round 2 against the Lakers. So you know you got the Nuggets, then you got the real number one team who is the OKC Thunder, who is young, and I think they have an MVP on their team who can definitely take over a game. And there's rumors about KD trying to slide his way back in there. He had Chet Holmgren in his KD 17 commercial. I see what you're doing, KD. You think you're slick, brother. I would love to see you go back, man. I'll bring my OKC jersey back out so fast. Probably can't even fit the shit no more. But you look at the Thunder, then you go down to the Suns and the Timberwolves, who to me, they're like mirror teams of each other, right? Because they have the pieces, they have the defense, they have the offense, they got the skills, it's just a lot of talent. Then you look at Clips and Mavs and you go, God damn. Mavs, Luka and Kyrie, Clippers, Kawhi, Westbrook, Harden, George. See, like, well, like that's what I'm saying. When you look at the West and you're looking at the East, you kind of feel like the Celtics may be the only one with a chance. I can't go for the Bucks as long as they have Doc Rivers as their coach. Because just defensively, when it comes to pressured games and games that matter, this ain't 2008. So we'll see how those games play out. I'll definitely update you guys on Friday when the new episode comes out. But right now, my predictions for each game prior to then probably be, obviously, I got the Celtics. I have the Bucks. I'm going to go with the Knicks. The Knicks have to lose for me to pick the 76ers because I just don't think Joel Embiid, he can't even run. And if you guys watch game 1 and game 2, you can see the struggle. And he was trying. Tyrese is amazing. Tyrese Maxey is amazing. But, man, you got literally 3 players from Villanova's 2017 team playing on the Knicks. So that cohesion is already embedded in them. And that's why they're playing. Like, if you look at why they're playing the way they do, they playing like they've been doing this shit forever because they have. Just saying, man, it's real when Josh Hart is stepping up and giving you all-star numbers in the playoffs. Come on, man. He's doing, and let me not say all-star numbers. He's having a breakout performance in the playoffs. Let's say that. So when you're looking at that, I'm gonna have to say Celtics. I'm gonna have to go with the Knicks. I'm gonna have to go with the Bucks. For I'm gonna have to go with the Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Bucks, and I'm gonna go with Magic since they're going to Orlando. On the Western Conference side, I'm gonna go with the Thunder again. I'm gonna go with the Mavs this time, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to pick the Suns. I think this is gonna be one of them back and forth. This can go 7. This is gonna go 6 or 7. To me, I definitely not a sweep. Definitely not a 5-game series. And then after that, I gotta go to Nuggets, man. I think the Nuggets pull out a sweep. I just think they do. So with that being said, please, if you're watching this, please feel free to put your predictions down. I'm always in for a friendly bet, but if I can help you make some picks, those are the teams I got now. Don't ask me to start doing scores. I ain't getting paid for it, and I definitely don't want to be liable in case I pick all the wrong shit. I'm bad at that, so I won't do it to you. But I hope you guys, whoever your team is, I hope I picked them. If I didn't, I'm sorry. That's probably because they're ass. But we'll see how everything plays out. Now, with that being said, we are now at the end of the show. I have this segment called The Final Call. It's inspired by a news article that the Nation of Islam prints out. And the reason I like to call it The Final Call is because there's always a message there. It's always a message of empowerment. It's always a message for our people. And it's a highlight of good things and good speeches and good ideas that we should have as people going forward. I've adopted this because multiple things that we talked about earlier, I think spent a lot of time on the negative and the impacts that certain circumstances have on all of us and our development. So I want to use this final, let's say 5 to 10 minutes to say this. There's so much negativity in the world. You deserve better. There's so much hate in the world. You deserve better. There's so much evil in the world. You deserve better. I implore you to look at every option you have on finding better for yourself. Whether it's removing people in your life that don't want better for you or themselves, if it's removing family members that you're keeping in your life because of the title, but not because of the value that they bring, you deserve better. You have to find better for your health, for your sanity, for your livelihood, if you have children, for your children, if you have a husband or a wife or your partner. Do not, this is all a trap that is laid out by whoever is the power of that be in the world, not God, for us to fall into this vortex and vicious cycle of negativity. That's why when you turn on the news, everything you see negative, 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 5 seconds of positive, negative, 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 negative. The resources are there for us to be successful. Is it guaranteed we will be successful? I'm going to say yes, but we have to do our part. We have to do the effort because the success lies within the effort you place. Because the results you seek will be based upon the effort that you make. So if you're not trying to do better, I don't think you should expect better. Everybody's capable of doing better. If you have a calling, if you got a raggedy ass apartment like this that you got to pay $1,400 fucking dollars for no reason, if you got a raggedy ass apartment with raggedy ass neighbors upstairs, but you have a calling, you have something that you believe in, and you have something that you believe may not monetarily change your life, but will change your mental, do it. If you have a hobby, if you have a skill set that you can use, that is going to make you feel good, that's going to make you feel better, that's going to help you overcome the things that weigh down on you, please, I implore you, do it. Who gives a fuck what anybody think about what you're trying to do? And that needs to be the message. Who gives a fuck? They can't stop you from doing what you want to do. You can, though. You can turn all that shit off and keep doing you. And then you'll realize they'll come along when they're successful. Or excuse me, when you're successful. Then you'll be saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, you motherfucker said I wasn't going to be. Ding, ding, ding. That's the point. I love everybody in different ways because that's how you got to love everybody. But I love people the same in terms of believing that there are evil people in the world. There are great people in the world. There are people who want best for you. There's people who don't want nothing for you at all. But I love everybody because I can control my life in terms of what I want to deal with, who I want to deal with. I have not just type 1 diabetes, but I have a heart issue. You know, I have other issues. I have things that has put a timer on my life. And I hate that it took me to realize that, you know, something that was already guaranteed has now been put on a piece of paper for me to constantly read over, that, you know, that time is going to come sooner than later. But that don't mean it's going to happen today, and it don't mean it won't happen today. So I got to take advantage of every single day I have. What I mean by taking advantage is, let's say you are lazy and you don't feel like doing anything today. Well, what are you doing to make you happy? Are you reading a book, playing a game? Are you outside? Are you doing something that makes you happy? And when you do something that makes you happy, that happiness comes in and seeing how it impacts you and how it makes you want others to feel. It's just a kinetic energy, man. It's just what we feel through each other when we see each other. I wish the world could be a positive place. It will never happen. I wish everybody could be happy people. It will never happen. I wish racism and shit didn't exist. It's just never going to happen. I was trying to teach somebody one time. I said, you don't have to hate black people just because they're black, because I think that might be the dumbest shit in the world, because there's literally way more fucked up white people or any color or black people. There's black people that really don't like black people because we know what's up. Then there's white people that really don't like white people because they know what's up. But guess what? Then there's people that just hate you because of how you look. And you could be the best person for them. They'll allow a white person or whoever is the same color or creed to come into their world and fuck it up because they're blinded by their hate for others. You gotta turn that shit off. You gotta turn that shit off and live in reality. And if that means disengaging from social media when you feel like it's necessary, then do that. If it means not texting or answering phone calls from people that only wants to bring negativity into your life, then do that. And that decision is hard. And sometimes it makes you feel lonely. And it'll make you question, was it worth it? But when you look back on it from the successful standpoint or the effort standpoint, you will realize it was necessary. I want the best for everybody. If you see this, if you don't see it, if you hear about it, if you read about it, if somebody told you, hey, just look at this part, I just want the positive shit to come out of this, which is I want better for everybody. I don't give a fuck about me, man. I hate to put it like this, but shit, I mean, your life was over once it started, but once you kind of get a timer on it, you need to set goals and you need to have those goals laid out. You don't have time to think, oh, I'm gonna work for this for however long it takes, and then I'll decide when I'm ready. No, no, I don't have that luxury. I don't, excuse me, I don't have that luxury. I don't have that compass anymore. My shit got a timer. And if I had an hour left, then you best believe 59 motherfucking minutes is gonna be the best 59 minutes I had. And that last minute, I'm gonna lay down and close my eyes with a smile on my face and tell you that I'm grateful for every experience, for every person I ran into, for every story I've heard, for every story I read, for every story I told. I'm grateful for the opportunities. I'm grateful for every blessing I have. And all I want is for you guys to say the same for yourself. So with that being said, until next time, my friends, I love you.